Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world, we're going to talk some boxing. So a lot of people talk about how certain fighters, they got old. And that's the reason why they lost certain fights. But if they were younger, they would kick the fighter's ass. And sometimes this is true because the boxer is literally compromised health-wise. And other times, I don't know. I have a question mark on that. Obviously, when people get older, there are certain things, they're not as sharp, they're not as good as they used to be, okay? So physically, but I do believe that as people get older, if they are good boxers, they will make the necessary adjustments for that so that they can continue to be on top. As in the case of Manny Pacquiao, as in the case of Floyd Mayweather, as in the case of Bernard Hopkins, as in the case of a number of other fighters I'm going to mention right now. But anyway, into the discussion, I'm going to use Sugar Ray Leonard as my example, prime example of what people say. You know, they say, oh, he was old, blah, 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 blah. And in a byway, I'm not going to actually highlight this one. I'm also going to talk about Bernard Hopkins for a minute, too. All right, so Sugar Ray Leonard, he was born in 1956, May 17th, and he debuted in boxing on February the 5th of 1977, which means he was 20 years of age, but he was going into his 21st year in 3 months' time. Okay? His career spanned 20 years, which means he retired from boxing finally and never returned at the age of 41. His last fight was against Hector Camacho. Okay? At the age of 41, Hector Camacho stopped him. But 6 years before that, at the age of 34 going into the age of 35, he faced Terry Norris. Now, just before that, about a year or so before, he faced Roberto Duran and had a successful defense of his super middleweight title, beating Roberto Duran by unanimous decision. What's amazing about this is he gets a little break, which means he gets a little rest. He faced Terry Norris, terrible Terry Norris, who was the WBC World Super Welterweight Champion at Sugar Ray Leonard's ideal weight, which is 154 pounds. And Terry Norris knocks him down in the second and seventh round. It's still a competitive fight to some degree, but Terry Norris pretty much dominates the fight, and he wins. And a lot of people say that Sugar Ray Leonard, at the age of 34 going on 35, he was old. Now, he looked old, but was he old? To be able to examine this and to really put it into perspective, because a lot of people say, you know, he accumulated a lot of punishment in his career and blah, 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 blah. We'll look at Roberto Duran's career, his contemporary. We'll look at Thomas Hearns' career. We'll look at Mike McCallum's career, okay? Particularly the last time they were really doing very, very well. So the last time that Sugar Ray Leonard was actually doing very, very well was when he was at the age of 32 going on 33 against Roberto Duran. Okay? Now, people say that back in the day, you know, these fighters, they used to come out of their prime sooner. Is that really true? Let's see. So let's look at Roberto Duran's career, first of all. And, of course, we're looking at the latter end of his career. Roberto Duran, first of all, started boxing in 1968. He was born in 1951, which means he was 17 years of age, or going on his 17th birthday. He was actually 16 when he began boxing. His career spanned from 1968 to 2001, which is a remarkable 33 years, people. 33 years! I just wanted to make it loud and clear so you guys can understand what I'm saying. Which means that Roberto Duran finished his career, his last fight in 2001, at the age of 50! Okay, so let's find out when Roberto Duran was able to accomplish, you know, the biggest feat he ever had. First of all, at the age of 50, he lost to Hector Camacho, a unanimous decision. Hector Camacho ending his career, as well as ending Sugar Ray Leonard's career. I thought it was pretty interesting. But, in addition, he was, what did we say? He was 50 years old when he faced Hector Camacho. Now, that's remarkable. But in addition to that, he was fighting at middleweight. And Duran is pretty much an ideal middleweight. That's where he really resides. So that's his ideal weight. But nonetheless, he was 50 years of age, man! All right, let's get into it. The year before, when he was 49, he faced Patrick Goosen and actually got a win over that dude. He beat Pat Lawler, the guy that knocked him out early on in his career. He beat Pat Lawler at the age of fucking 49. This is like a Bernard Hopkins kind of shit right here. At the age of 48, he faced Omar Eduardo Gonzalez. And at the age of 47, William Joppy was the guy that stopped him for the WBA World Middleweight title. Okay? He tried to go for the World Middleweight title again, and William Joppy stopped his ass. But god damn it, he was 48, y'all. 47, sorry. And that same year, he faced Felix Jose Hernandez. At the age of 46, he faced David Radford, Jorge Castro, and got wins over them. After Jorge Castro had beaten him, he came back. This was at super middleweight and beat Jorge Castro. This is at the age of what? Fucking 46, ladies and gentlemen. All right then, let's keep it going. At the age of 45, he beat Mike Colbert. Okay, he also beat Ariel Cruz. And by the way, just by the way, Jorge Castro was a good fighter. Okay, he beat Ariel Cruz at the age of 45, and he faced Hector Camacho at the age of 45, and he lost to Hector Camacho by a relatively close fight. It was for the WBC middleweight title, the IBC, sorry, which was a minor world title. And also at the age of 45, he faced Ray Domingue, Wilbert Cast, Ronnie Martinez, and fucking at the age of 44, he faced Vinny Panzienza, who beat him. But this motherfucker is 44, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, it was a super middleweight. Also, Heat Todd at 43 faced Heat Todd and also Vinny Panzienza again. All right, and he knocked down Vinny Panzienza in round 5. Okay, this is a 43-year-old. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just saying. He also faced Terry Thomas, Carlos Montero at the age of 43. At the age of 42, he faced Tony Menifee, Sean Fernandez, Sean Fitzgerald, Jacques LeBlanc. He faced at 42. So he had a whole set of fights. He stayed busy, right? At the age of 41, he faced Ken Hunsley, Tony Biglan. All right? Faced Pat Lawler at the age of 40. Pat Lawler he was not able to continue because of his shoulder, so it was a TKO. He's old, so what do you expect? At the age of 38, he faced Ray Leonard. Leonard had a unanimous decision over him, as you know, and then he faced Terry Norris after. That's Ray Leonard. But at the age of 38, ladies and gentlemen, he faced Iron Barkley. 38. Knocked Barkley down in the 11th and won a split decision win to become the WBC middleweight champion of the world. At the age of what? 38. At the age of what? 38. At the age of what? 38. Sugar Ray Leonard was 34 going on 35 and got his ass beat by Terry Norris, while Roberto Duran at the age of fucking 38 is beating guys like a Ryan Barkley. So all this talk about, the older fighters, they were not as well conditioned, so therefore, they used to decay faster, is bullshit. Why? Because Roberto Duran used to get punched like crazy. He should have been punch drunk at the end of his career. Okay? He took more punishment than Sugar Ray Leonard did. So what the fuck are you guys talking about? I'm just saying. Let's go on to another fighter, shall we? Let's talk about Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Thomas the Hitman Hearns was born in 1958. He debuted in 1977 at the age of 19. And his career spanned from 1977 to 2006. In other words, 29 years. Almost 30 years. Okay? Now, his last fight was in 2006. It was against Shannon Lambert. Oh, I forgot to say. So, 29 years, which means that he retired at the age of 41, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 41? 29. No, sorry, what the fuck am I talking about? 29 years, and he was 19, right? So, 48 years of age, this motherfucker retired from boxing. 48, like Duran. All right, let's get into it. So he faced Shannon Lambert and beat his ass, knocking him out at the age of fucking 48. Never mind if the guy's a dud or not. I don't give a fuck. This was at the light heavyweight. Also faced John Long and knocked his ass out. Okay? I don't know who those guys are, to be honest with you, so I can't really say, but he was still doing his thing. Kind of Roy Jones Jr. style. Now, scroll down from 48, 5 years before that. So you're looking about age of 43 when he lost to Uriah Grant at cruiserweight for the IBO title. He was retired because he had an injury. And then in 1999, when he was 42, he beat Nate Miller for the vacant IBO World Cruiserweight title. Now, I don't really count it, that people count it as a world title. I don't count the IBO as a world title. The point is, he was fucking how old? 42. But we'll get to the real world titles in a minute. He was 41 when he was beating up other guys. 1 year Ed Dalton. He was 40 when he beat Carl Willis. He was 39 when he beat Earl Butler and Lenny LaBiglia. All right. He was 38, I believe. I lost track a little bit. Just so you guys correct me. 38 or 37 when he faced Freddie Delgado. Okay. Let me just check. I'm going to go back and check just for the sake of it. So we said he was 48 here, 47, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38, 37. He's 36 when he faced Freddie Delgado and Dan Ward. He was 35 when he faced Andrew Maynard. He was 34 when he faced Iron Barkley. Okay, and gave him a good fight, the WBA light heavyweight title. That's the same age Sugar Ray Leonard was when he fought Terry Norris. Okay, he had a split decision loss to this dude. He really put on a good fight, and that's when I knew this man had all-around game. Now he was fighting on the inside and the outside and all that shit. And his chin was good, and it was an incredible fight. And all I'm saying is, and this was at the light heavyweight division, and all I'm saying, he was a light heavyweight champion. He lost the fight to Iron Barkley. I don't know how, but he did. In 1991, he was 33, so he was in his prime, and he beat Virgil Hill. My point being, where Sugar Ray Leonard was getting his ass beaten by Terry Norris, both Roberto Duran and also Tommy Hearns were being competitive. Very competitive. So the question is, what is the difference? And I'll tell you what the difference is. Iron Barkley was somewhat of a contemporary of Thomas Hearns and Roberto Duran, whereas Terry Norris was a new generation of fighters. And so, because of that, what you find is, this new generation, besides them having all the energy and vitality, they come with a revised technique and a revised style. And boxing today has come so far away from what it used to be. Let me show you guys one more guy, Mike McCallum. Okay? Mike McCallum. Now, Mike McCallum is an exception to the rule. Mike McCallum did some incredible shit, and we're going to go into Mike McCallum in detail. So first of all, Mike McCallum, also known as the Body Snatcher, he was born in 1956, debuted in 1981, which means he was 25 years of age when he began boxing. His pro career, that is. Which is pretty late. And from 1981 to 1997, which is 16 years, he fought. Which means he was the age of 41 when he finished boxing. Now, watch this incredible stuff with Mike McCallum. Faced James Stoney at the age of fucking 41. Does not get stopped. Loses the fight to him. This is the third. They had a trilogy. This was a cruiserweight. He faced Roy Jones Jr. at the age of 40. And Roy outclassed him. But nonetheless, I don't think he won a single round. But he showed signs of what he used to be. This is at the age of 40, though. He was past it, for sure. He beat Ali Saidi. Then he faced, at the age of 39, he faced Fabrice Tiozzo. Okay? And this is where he lost the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship to him. All right? At that same age that I'm telling you, 39, this motherfucker was a world champion. He had beaten Carl Jones, Jeff Hardy. Okay? At the age of what? 39. In 1994, he was 38 when he won the title. So, what I'm trying to say to you guys is, how is that possible? Well, Terry Norris was the best at the time, super welterweight in the world. And Terry Norris implemented a new style of boxing with inbuilt defense. He was sharp, very strong, compact, and Terry Norris had a new school of boxing. So you were looking at ushering out the old school of boxing, at least the previous generation school of boxing, and the most dominant guy in the previous generation, versus the new school of boxing. So it wasn't just that Sugar Ray Leonard was older. It was that he was facing a younger, yes, hungrier guy, but also a guy who had techniques and skills and craft and boxing that was of a new era. You were looking at the old era of boxing disappear and the new era of boxing appear. And I can break that down a little bit more in detail another time. And so, in addition to that, Terry Norris was sharper and faster than Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray Leonard was not used to guys being faster and sharper than him. So, because Sugar Ray Leonard was coming up from a higher weight class back down, Sugar Ray Leonard had slowed down a bit, being that he put on more muscle mass. So when he came down to the lower weight class, he was a little tad slower than also Terry Norris. So now back to the question. Would Terry Norris have beaten Sugar Ray Leonard if Sugar Ray Leonard was in his prime? A lot of people just don't bat an eye. They don't think too much about it. And they say, absolutely. Well, to that, I would say this. You have to think about it. Bernard Hopkins, who was beaten by Sergey Kovalev, he was 48 years of age. And the thing about it is a lot of people said, well, it's because of Hopkins' age that Sergey Kovalev beat him. I disagree. While he was older and he had to adapt his craft and he had to be more crafty and more skilled in what he was doing, and more smart, sorry, not more skilled, but more smart in what he was doing, Bernard Hopkins always had problems with long-rangey fighters. He lost to Chad Dawson. He lost to Jermaine Taylor. These are long-rangey fighters. So if these guys could use their jab pretty well, he was beaten by them. And people predicted that he would lose to Sergey Kovalev, not because of his age, but because of the style he was facing. Go back in time now. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Terry Norris. I believe that Terry Norris' style was just not a style that Sugar Ray Leonard could have dealt with. I think that Sugar Ray Leonard would have had difficulty with Terry Norris, whether he won or not, no matter what time he faced him. And my point being this, that boxing as a sport evolves. And yes, sometimes the older fighter can beat a whole lot of new school younger fighters. But when he meets a top tier younger fighter like he was, he'll lose because boxing as a sport evolves. And I just want to make another point because this has always been my major point. A lot of people talk about how old school boxers, they had, more skills and better skills than the new school boxers today. What a lot of people are not thinking about is, one, the endurance of old school boxers is not the same as the endurance of new school boxers today with sports science. Two, the honed, mind you, listen very carefully, the honed skills of new school boxers today is totally on a different level to the honed skills of old school boxers of yesterday. Besides new school boxers today taking care of their bodies better than the old school boxers of yesterday, we also have this additional point that a lot of people are not thinking about. New school boxers today are more defensively responsible on the whole than old school boxers of yesterday. Old school boxers of yesterday take more risk, and if you look at their boxing techniques, they are not as in balance as new school boxers today. That is, staying perfectly in balance all the time. Old school boxers would reach over their shots, they would throw shots over their lead foot, and they would overextend themselves, sometimes doubling over, leading to counters. Today, if you do such shit against a new school boxer, he'd tattoo your ass up. Today, new school boxing is more like chess and checkers. Besides